Mike with Bob Sunshine.
Yeah.
You know, Robert.
As I recall, I've done
You got
that
a bell in my
teapot
hand.
before. Did you break something?
Good evening. That was a very good first half.
poured my tea and the lid
Christopher,
fell
that
off.
was unbelievable, your students. Okay, these were all written today. Let's hear a big deal. Wished for years and then appears dreadful deadbeat domineers. Precious prayers, pagan purse proud, interbreeds with unbowed crowd. Uncleansed nymphet, whistle threat. Dreamers need a drum majorette. Heartthrob's curse, miniature. Purified pulse, pre-manure. Childhood friend hysterical, treehouse cross, behind room full. Beating mind confronts thorned crown. Done deal deity drawn down. Angels kneeling earnest jest. Unbehoved beneath hill crest. Love birds worth their weight I bear. Utterly unfair, mon frere. Okay, don't look at me. Look at any one of these frogs that are in this room. This is a frog poem. If you want to look at me, you can look at me. I don't care. Find word that rhymes with ribbit. Clog on log, bullfrog admits. Missing legs, God's favorite meal. One of 10 plagues, blastophile. You don't have to look at the frogs anymore. Love too much, broken-hearted. Rendezvous near, uncharted. Others letting go, hogwashed. In itself felt like brain squashed. Explored inside tinfoil trial. Drenched demon decodes denial. This is going to be hard to say. Klutz kept knickknacks, knock-kneed kvetched. Figured out flim-flam far-fetched. And I'm going to end with two of my favorite poems. It's nice to have a favorite. Only one fell from the wall. Men and horses overhaul. King mad, queens crack, Humpty picked, hair found in Eggs Benedict. And this one's called Vancouver. I love Vancouver, I think everybody does. Raincoat, galoshes, riffraff, Minnehaha gets last laugh. In between 4th and Mill Plain, only lost down memory lane. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you.
Okay, next is a warm ghost town hello for Jim Martin.
Yeah.
Bob had a word in that last poem, Minnehaha, and some of us may know what it is and some of us may not. When I was a boy, my mother used to tell me that when she grew up here in the 20s, that they had a saying in Vancouver, what's the biggest joke in the county? And it was Minnehaha. And that was really hot stuff.
It still is.
We come along. I just have one. Set me free, my path. 2 windows to my soul within. 2 souls house my being. 1, my guilt in the place where I am. Excuse me. And the world begins. The other, all of the universe places me among it. In the beginning, this house ordered my life. Then I allowed the house of guilt to impose its own order upon me. Traveled the dark road of fear, guilt, ignorance, knowing whom I followed, mistrusting all who trod a different path. Dark these ages. In time, my other house, its quiet voice, a feeling, a sense of being, gently showed me my connection to all who live their lives on earth, freed me to choose the path of my own soul. Thank you.
Who's buying who a drink back there? Yeah, just let them know next door what's going on right away so they can help if they need to. I'd like to introduce you to my wife and partner in Truth and Beauty. You might know her as Toni Partington, but since this summer, a nice Italian girl named Toni Lumbrazo. You know. We're going to pause because we need to take a moment to clean up a mess. No, well, yeah, that too. But we need to acknowledge our friend Rick Verana, who passed away very suddenly on Easter, I believe it was. Yeah. Rick was definitely part of this community of poets and beloved here and also on the Portland side. He'd been living in Astoria and running a reading series out there in Astoria and came down with cancer, and I think died about 2 weeks after finding out about it, so it was really fast. There are going to be some events, I think the event is April 30th in Portland to say goodbye to him. And I don't know if, you know, Mike's here. I know Mike knew Rick and probably several of you. Rick was a feature here. So we thought what we would do is I'm going to read Rick's bio from his Ghost Town reading, and then we're each going to read one of Rick's poems to kind of, pay our respects. We miss him. We missed him when he went to Astoria, and now we have to miss him permanently. Here's what Rick had to say about himself back in 2012. Rick Vrana shares his interpretations of a long and varied working life, inner strivings and doubts, and his reactions to the random slop that gets slung at him with his only dependable defense, poetry. Whether he uses humor, anger, longing, or gratitude, he writes of personal challenges amid evocations of geographic places. Place and its meaning are subjects in their own rights, as often as metaphors for the events they host. Rick's poems have appeared sporadically over a 30-year period, and he has written from Seattle, Tacoma, Portland, and now Astoria, where he makes his home. In the last decade, he has appeared in Broken Word, the Alberta Street Anthology, Blown Out, Portland's Indie Poets, Venetian Blind Drunk, and other anthology zines and blogs. He's published 3 small chapbooks available in selected local bookstores and appeared on KBOO's Talking Earth on several occasions. Audio and video clips of his readings can be found on the internet with a Google search, but why bother when you can come to hear him live this month at Cover to Cover in Vancouver. Come on, he's coming all the way from the coast. So, so Tony's going to read one and I'll read the other. Tony's going to read the one that we published very proudly published in Ghost Town Poetry Volume 2. It's double-sided. You want this on the stand?
I just wanted to say a couple things about Rick that that I've been thinking about since he passed. One of them was that I don't think I'd ever seen anyone more comfortable in his own skin. He would just be there, and he was comfortable getting up to read. He was just present and engaged and fully relaxed. And I thought, wow, how do you do that, Rick? And the other thing was that he never missed an opportunity to thank a poet, to come up and shake your hand, say something about your poem, pat you on the back, say, I like what you did, keep it up, keep going. He had an immense generosity and very little ego in the way of telling you what he liked and not expecting you to say anything back to him, really, just to be sure that he gave you something of himself in that moment. And those are 2 things that I really, really appreciated about Rick. And it's just unbelievable to me that he's gone. This is called Red Carmody. Mike Carmody belonged to the local chapter of the Ancient Order of Hibernians and was the regional spokesperson for the Communist Labor Party. Hilarious, hard-drinking, sports fan, womanizer, our friendship cemented by mutual admiration. Honed knife-sharp by hours of polemical debate. We chased women together in those years when we had what they wanted, and we knew it, though I got nervous when he started dating my sister. The rest of our energies went into fixing our junker cars or writing articles for the party's newspaper. After the insurrection, he'd begin many sentences. He ran and won election as chief steward in the tire plant as a communist. I was also chief steward in my shop, but was a straight AFL-CIO guy, preferring to be the mortar between the blocks of ideologies. Near the end of our days together in that NEOH, N-E-O-H, Mike could not forgive my reluctance to join the vanguard. I left him almost a past friend, though true brother. During the Parrot's Beak, second week in, constant jungle firefight, by now he knew, well inside Cambodia. They took him away for the mayhem, sent him for the R&R in Saigon, where he saw the papers screaming of the 13th 13 shot at Kent State, where they knew he'd gone 2 years to school. 2 decades later, I was already in Seattle. They moved Mike cross country to the cancer center for desperate treatment. Chemo doubled the size of his head, grotesque, hairless. We cried when we reunited in that hospital room. I was the last one of us he would ever see. Agent Orange, Midwest, flag-draped funeral. His mother collapsed in my arms at the cemetery. Red Carmody by Rick Verona.
So it became real to me listening to that, you know? And it, you know, made me think about it. We don't admit it very often, but one of the things involved in doing this writing thing or trying to create art is you're taking a shot at immortality, and creating something that'll be around when you're gone. And I believe that people will be looking at Rick's poetry for a while. I don't think it's going to stop with his body stopping. So, like the best writers, Rick didn't just do one kind of poem, and so this poem is pretty different. I thought this was a pretty great one, but a very different tone from that other one. This is called The Market for Poetry. He posted this on his blog in 2010. Maybe somewhere there's another planet, leaving aside for a moment the question of intelligent life, where you can't land without some poems and a self-addressed stamped spaceship. On Earth, they tell us of the triumph of capital, which insists that everything is an economic exchange. What I want to know is how it started. Did somebody once say, "Hey, I can sell this stuff"? Around some ancient campfire, did a visiting wanderer pass out flyers advertising a reading before the next buffalo hunt? The Psalms, we know, were a big hit, compiled as they were into the ultimate anthology. Virgil got rich singing the Aeneid for Augustus, then died and toured the underworld with Dante, who entertained all the burghers of Florence, anxious to learn the torments of their destined circles of hell. Milton, that savvy marketer, figured out that the fall of man always sells. In the early days of the mass market economy, Whitman learned how to exploit the slogans "new and revised," now with more poem power. In the post-Eliot wasteland, poets from Bob Dylan to Leonard Cohen figured out the real money's in the music, and pretty soon all the rockers knew the less poetry, the more money. Still, itinerant poets roam the literary wildscape. Now and then one even does a book tour, though it's hard to believe even Greyhound tickets are that cheap. Academics, of course, do it for the tenure track, assigning their books to their students who, with visions of their immortality, can't wait to lose money on their own books. It's not like poetry is worthless. Hell, even I've bought a beer or two. The boys do it to get into the girls do it to bitch about the boys. I do it because nobody told me I'm allowed to, being absolutely unlicensed and non-accredited, a selfish, masturbatory right that at least gets a double take from the good old boys, who up to now figured I was just a regular guy. Most poetry is bought by poets. Most poetry is heard by poets. So here's an idea. Let's get every poet in this bookish city to gather at a big reading, somewhere up on a mountain perhaps, where they all get to read one poem. If we tell them it's a benefit for unfortunate souls struggling somewhere, they'll even pay to get in. And when we're all assembled, fussing with the microphone and sound system, somebody lights the fuse, and we blast off for that planet I was talking about. Rick Verona, we miss you. And perhaps the only poet in the Pacific Northwest who can follow a dead guy, our friend Mike G. Come on up here, Mike.
Thanks for making me cry, guys. I love Rick too.
It's just amazing how we're called upon to survive so much loss. But we are. I met Rick in 2007, and he said, "You're crazy, kid, but there's some truth in it. So have fun with it." And he embraced me and made myself feel welcome and one of the good guys. And his work goes on as our memories of him do. So, yes, Rick, I'm having fun, and this is for you. There's a rich vein running through Montana these days that my friends the vampires are ready to drain. Constantine, the original creeper, sprouts again as a flower girl in Chernobyl, spouting his faux nouveau, everyone is love theology to the weeds who ain't buying a dime or dollop of that shit. Meanwhile, my bag's packed. I'm seeking magic Alaska. Dark sky, deep freeze, not the sunny, lazy-eyed insect bite suffocation south. And to top it all off, the evil vegans call me Bloodmouth. This is what my mind is up against. That extra-dimensional child shaking, the 1970s Etch-a-Sketch reality gone. The shape and the age of the simulation is irrelevant, but I'm glad to be an idiot part of it. And the onion rolls through the center of everything, singing her tombstone blues. She is a city with sanctuaries and shanties, her crime zones, her red lights, her off-planet labyrinth. And here we are in this alien ant farm with other creatures, accepting the death as the flower does when the freeze comes. The lady in the front row ruins the Wizard of Oz show by throwing a Viagra biscuit to Toto, that off-Broadway non-union mutt, barking at munchkins, and bitching off the yellow brick road for a tryst with Trisha the German Shepherd. That's as fucked up as throwing a gas station hot dog poet to an open mic poet, Rick Verana would have said. Take your runs and bike races to Soviet Island, the 10-year-old neighbor girl says. California hipsters come here to ruin everything weird and dear to me and my Mike G. Take your little hobby to the island. That's what islands were created for. Sometimes her poems made me laugh so hard that morning beer squirted out my afternoon nose. There's too many conservatives in my food these days, mister, says the little boy alone in the treehouse in the abandoned rat's nest with a cheeseburger filled with maggots and the poster of Trump his dad put up. In sun or snow or negation of weather, the muse is always the onion. There's sustenance in her layers. We declared it spring on New Year's Eve, the steam from the elephant's sub-zero honking ascending into a heart enclosing Polaris. Old bitch Big Dipper spins happy, though her tip cup's always empty. All flowers thrive in the morning, dives and you sighing against the megalith. Home, home, where no grief grows. She whispers into my ear, honey, one can find everything in a sweet nothing. I make my poems from sweet nothing. Grandma said the best time to blow your little head off is when you're happy. And whatever happened to Enya and her sweet Orinoco flow? I'm skeptical of the original story. She's not still recording. That's a clone. The dolphins took the real Enya and sailed away. The same dolphins in my head again with scissors ready to edit. It's nice not having a mustache to burn when the next chain-smoking unenjoyment summer comes. And how do these trees keep doing it, splooting their diseased green into spring, breeding the illusion of abundance, when half the poets I know are lucky to ground score a penny. Meanwhile, there's vomit on aisle 3 again, the kids playing with the dead woman's nipple, drunks fighting in the seating area, Dorothy 69ing Toto on the sly every Tuesday night, me delving behind the other world curtain where my feet don't ache and my schedule is light. Gonna screw my love into you and prune your confusing little brain till it writes pretty, says the female voice. This beret I'm wearing was made by tiny children in the Czech Republic. I'll take my T-Rex tooth to heaven, along with the life I wish I would have lived, And if I die and that's it, who gives a shit? It's the in-between consciousness dream that gets my kicks. All this beginning and ending phoniness of big bangs, cosmic heat, death, and mediocrity gone viral bores me. It's like what the night flowers said to the moon. It's like what my friend Robin said to a young, dumb wannabe languishing in mere potentiality. Me, stinkin' be real. The jungle gym of Narnia still glitters, and we can still play on it till the Shadow Man catches us. The only humans who see the whole picture are the ones who step out of the frame. The Onion is one of them. Sound and Vision is her name. Meanwhile, the fear porn of phony nuclear cartoons didn't faze us. We knew that nothing the news said was ever real, that all official stories were suspect. I'm gonna shove the 10 grand pianos into the river tonight, cover myself in mud, waiting for love. Next time I want to be a simple flag boy, waving the traffic past with an easy smile. I will choose not to think again. Just teach me the words for go and stop. Feed me oatmeal and smokes, while ghosts dictate their poems. The non-attentive bartender describes her mystery rash. Meanwhile, I'm trapped in the Multnomah County Library homeless camp with a 300-page manuscript friend enemy called Happiness a Tragedy. Meanwhile, the 10-year-old neighbor girl's been running NASA space photos through photoforensics.com again and again. They're all coming back fake, especially the Mars composites with the tiny Earth animals in them. I'm so tired, I just forgot what I had for lunch. So tired, gonna fuck you with my nose. I advise children with writer's block to start with this. Cut off Hillary C's or Donnie T's head and paste it onto a velociraptor's body. No need to give this hideous chimera velociraptor teeth. Hillary and Donnie already have them. Place it in a real-life idiot America like this one, where 95% of them can't think their way out of wet single-ply toilet paper. Imagine them chanting USA, USA as they're herded into camps, and the rest will write itself, I say to the kids. It's like what my friends in shitty relationships say. Even the best sex only buys you more lies. That said, let us now praise the mediocre ones, those who've never found a passion, the never applauded, the low in self-regard, the timid, the yes people, the rednecks filling the emptiness with television, then bitching about Poets' Night. Ding, 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 the gambling machines sing. We lose, the most of us, for somehow shuffling through. This is also courage. I've informed my usher friend Jerry that my final decline is coming. That poetry, if you really want to know the truth, has robbed me of choice and everything good I could have been. So in 5 years, I'll come clacking wild-eyed with my walker into the schnitzer, lugging oxygen tanks and EKG machines, clutching a comp pity ticket for the upper balcony so I can enjoy Beethoven's 7th for a final time. But when I see Jerry on orchestra level aisle 3, I point trembling skeletal claw and say, I want Jerry's aisle. Clack, clack. It's an awkward scene. Everyone remembers the fist-pumping all aboard the greatness train me, so they freeze. Security guards, Scott steps out for a smoke. Many of the ushers are crying. Poor Jerry's pasty face. Clack, clack. Oh my God, says Jerry. He turns to his aisle mate Lisa for support. No more Lisa. He's facing his destiny alone. No God but me, Jerry. Clack, clack, whee! Here, the back row. Take the back row, my G. Come on. Tiny pills are cupped into my hand. Those gonna calm you down, Jerry says. Oh no, Jerry. They gonna make me hyper and fill my diaper. Then I wink at him, a rumpa-bum-bum. Jerry sucks his thumb. The exuberant first movement soothes me, almost makes me want to be again. But the repetitive second with its monotony of da, dun, dun, da, 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 gets me thinking. Beethoven shouldn't be the feature. I should be the feature. My intestines make little oboe blurts. The pills are kicking in. The blue hairs in front of me frown. Then I think, stupid Beethoven forgot harmonica. I am a great harmonica player. I fumble in my pocket for the old plastic, never-washed performance harmonica sucked on by 100 poets since I found it in a gutter in 2007, including Rick Verana. Dun, 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 dun. Drums, Beethoven. Hey, Ludwig, listen to this! Oh, right, you can't hear shit! Blooch, sploot, quish. Jerry, I filled my diaper! Jerry, I'll fix you and your little dog Toto too! Thanks for listening. That was for Rick.
Thanks, Mike. Cracking me up again. Next we're gonna...
Rick would have been proud.
Rick would have loved it.
Love Rick.
Okay. I was lowering this a little bit, but I probably shouldn't too much for Lori Loringer.
Oh, no.
Come on, come on up, Lori.
She arrived levitating to the floor. So
Are you levitating tonight, Lori?
We'll see.
She's been known to levitate. Let's see what we can do. No, it's right for you. It's not right for me. Hello? Okay. All right. As Mr. Luna knows, I have a special thing for Lawrence Ferlinghetti. So Chris always informs me when it's his birthday or some such. And so having been informed of Lawrence's 97th birthday, I wrote this. I told you there'd be a poem and it would be your poem. In 40 years, I aspire to still be writing poetry, to still be reading it, for people to be listening willingly. I aspire to have a mind full of clarity and a voice to match, to wear a scraggly gray beard of my own, and to sport it proudly as I read, to have at least one sentient finger on the pulse of what's up in the world, and to remember how it got that way. I hope to still be here, in this house, on this land, here where my sense of place is sure and relevant and fierce, to remember what freedom is like and tell others. I look forward to the day when Lori and Larry sound natural together, like two sides of one thing, something that shines with the energy of existence and reflects that light out into the world, not to blind anyone, but to illuminate, to make clear, to show the way. In 40 years, I aspire to still be on the path, and to know that the path is lit by many souls, that I am creating the path as I walk it, to really understand that this walk itself is the real deal. Once in a while, I like to do a little call and response, and this is one of those things. So you will notice that this says Queen of Everything. Okay. And so what I'm going to ask of you guys is, when I say, "Who am I?" you say, "The Queen." Okay? When I say, "Over what do I rule?" you say, "Everything." All right? And at the very end, when I say, "All hail to the Queen of Everything," I would love to get a "Long live the Queen." Okay, everybody got that? Okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay? My cup proclaims me Queen of Everything. I have an apron that agrees. Who am I?
The Queen.
Over what do I rule?
Everything.
Yes, in my domain, my castle, if you will, I am none other but the regal female, also known as the Queen. Who am I?
The Queen.
Over what do I rule?
Everything.
I am old enough to be invisible, white enough to be of no particular consequence, privileged enough that the depth of my poverty is not apparent. I have no crown nor royal treasury,
My gowns are pieced together from Scarlett O'Hara's drapes and hand-me-downs. My debt reflects my monarchical majesty. Who am I?
The Queen.
Over what do I rule?
Everything.
Everything encompasses all that I have and all that I am. Like my debt, this little universe is mine, the only court over which I will ever preside. Who am I?
The Queen.
Over what do I rule?
Everything.
All hail to the Queen of everything.
All hail the Queen of everything.
That was healing.
Lori, I have that cup too.
Do you? But do you have the apron?
Listen, I don't have the apron, I just have the mug. And it does say Queen of Everything, but I'm going to cross it out and I'm going to say, I'm going to put your name on there.
Or I could just give you the apron.
That's true, that's true. Before we hear our next reader, I want to be sure to invite you all to the Sunday sessions at High-End Marketplace on April 24th. It is at 1 to 4 in the afternoon, starting with the book launch of Homing Pigeon, Doobie or Not Doobie. And High-End Marketplace is the cannabis store on Broadway, owned by Morgan Hutchinson. After the Homing Pigeon book launch, Chris and I will be reading poetry. That's in the second hour, is that correct? First hour? Okay, second hour, we'll be reading poetry. And as a part of that, we are the guest artist for April in the vestibule, I guess it is, or the front lobby.
You have to show your ID or else you don't get the funds.
Yeah, we have art on the walls there for the month of April, and we had a lot of fun. We brought a lot of diverse pieces. There's some real quirky things, and so if you get a chance to stop by anytime during this month, if you can attend the Sunday session. And then after we read our poetry, Chris will read some of his with River Twain. Some of you know Brad and Gus, who play, I guess I think of it as not bluegrass and not folk, but more roots music. Down home, it's great, they're great, stand-up bass and guitar. He'll read some of his poems with them, and then they will also play the two of them. So it's a full afternoon, it's free, it's limited seating, so if you plan to attend, you might want to get there a little bit early. It's not a very big place, otherwise it's standing room only. April 24th, free for those 21 and over. No minors because of it being the cannabis shop, and it's 1 to 4 p.m. So we invite you to come.
Lori and Tiffany will be reading.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Part of the launch.
We're reading on 420 in Portland.
And also
That's
on
the-
420,
Yes, that's right. So Lori Loringer, Tiffany Burba-Schramm are both in the book Homing Pigeon, to be or not to be. So, next we're going to hear from me and Kate.